There are two types of pressure I usually find myself feeling. The first one is the kind of pressure that I'd like to say I shop for. What I mean by that is usually I'll have looked at someone else's life, felt like, oh, how come I'm not at the stage that they're at? How come I'm not doing what they're doing even though we're the same age? Like the pressures of like, by this time in your life, you should have done this, you should have this, that kind of pressure. And I kind of have like a saying that kind of helps me deal with that. And that saying is, stay in your lane, Lorraine. And I found that a lot of the time I kind of shop for that pressure, and it's unhealthy for me because it means that I'm comparing myself, and comparison is the thief of joy. So I find that I'm looking at someone else's life and hoping that it was my life, of which it doesn't actually really make sense because that person's life is their life for a reason. They have their own goals, their own talents, their own dreams, which is very different to my goals, talents, and dreams. So it doesn't make sense for me to be feeling pressure to work harder, sleep less, do more, just so that I can live up to their life goals as opposed to my life goals. So yeah, guys, stay in your lane. That's pressure number one. Pressure number two is mainly to do with just the everyday pressures of life. Things like work, study, managing, your relationships, whether it's family, friends, handling things that you have to do at church. All those things can sometimes come into conflict with each other. And that's normal. That's something that, a lot of us can say that we go through. How I kind of handle that is really mainly to do with three things. So, number one, I've learned to use the magical word no. That means I don't have to, have everything done. I don't have to do everything. I don't have to say yes to every single catch up with a friend, every single church thing I'm asked to do, every single work thing that seems to be needing my time at that particular moment. I'm learning that things are actually usually not as urgent as we believe they are. Number two is I find that when there is a lot of stuff to do, sometimes there is just a lot of stuff to do, and that's just the way that it is. I try to break it down to actually help myself look at it in ways that help me manage it better. So for example, if I need to advertise something for work, rather than just write advertise this on my to-do list, because that just feels like advertise this, what is that? Then I have to think about too many things. I kind of break it down. What does that require me to actually do? What are the little things that I need to do to be able to advertise this particular thing? So break it down, whether it's an assignment that is making you feel overwhelmed, whether it's work, whether it's something to do with church, whatever it is, break it down to something that your brain can kind of take in and you can kind of deal with it step by step rather than seeing it as this humongous thing. Number three, which I found very helpful for myself, is to just share whatever you're going through with somebody. So I like to talk to my friends or my family about whatever it is that I'm going through. And it just kind of helps me. Sometimes it's just for me to let things off my chest, get them out of my head, and see that sometimes it's actually not as bad as I think it is once I've actually spoken about it. But also it's just so that I can get perspective, get someone else's thought, get someone else's experiences on it, and help me deal with it better. And, pressure is always going to be something that's going to be, it's always going to be around. It's just life. It's just the way that it is. How we deal with it is probably, having healthy ways to deal with it is probably 90% of the job. So talk to someone, break things down, say no, and stay in your lane.